G'day and welcome back to MTG. I'm your host Tim, and today I've got a commander deck and it's the Host of Mordor. I'm going to have a look through it, give you my thoughts on this, what you could pull out and what you could upgrade. So let's go, let's jump into it. Pop it open. I've had a few look at the decks so far. This all seem to be pretty decent. I know where everything sits now in here. So we have ourselves a nice little box with a box art on it, which is really nice. And then we have underneath here, we have our little bit of junk, our life spin down wheel, which they're all the same with all the same artwork now, I've noticed. We have our collector booster sample pack, pretty decent some of these. You can get some pretty cool hits in them, even hit the legendary lands, which is quite nice. But we'll open it up, see what's inside. And we have Horn of Gondor. So when it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white human creature token, and yeah, wow, pretty decent. And Glimly, Counter of Kills, really nice art. So that's cool to get. So let's have a look at this. Our face commander is Sauron, Lord of the Rings. So he is a Avatar Horror. For 8 mana, he's a 9/9 Trampler, which is really nice. When you cast a spell, you amass Orcs 5, so you get an additional 5 power. You mill 5 cards. And then you return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So amazing value, expensive to cast though. So I dare say in these colors as well, you're not ramping out very quick unless you're doing it via artifacts. And then also when a commander an opponent controls dies, the ring tempts you too. So a little bit more value baked into that. Alternate commander is Saruman the White Hand. It's 4 mana for a 2/5, and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, amass X orcs, where X is that spell's mana value, and goblins and orcs you control have ward 2. So an actual amazing commander, that guy, especially if you're doing it as a spell slinger deck with a bit of orc tribal or tribal in it. But yeah, we'll see how this gets split. It looks like it's going to have a lot of amass orc 5 just from looking at it, possibly some non-creature spells as well. So let's jump in here. We have Treason of Isengard, so it's a sorcery. For 3, put up to 1 target instant or sorcery from your graveyard on top of your library and amass Orcs 2. So there you go, you're using Saruman's ability out of that. Then we have Bitter Downfall for 4. So instant and spell cost 3 less if it targets a creature that was dealt damage this turn. You get to destroy target creature and its controller loses 2 life. Dealing damage to a creature can be difficult, so a 4 mana removal is expensive, but it's a spell. I mean, it works with Saruman. Then we have Troll of Khazad-dûm. Then he is a 6/5, and he can only be blocked by 3 or more creatures and has Swamp Cycling. Weird. I don't know how that plays with it, but let's see. Voracious Fellbeast for 6 for a 4/4 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent sacks a creature. You create a food token for each other creature sacked this way. Interesting, right? Fiery Inscription, so it's a 3 mana enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you, which is nice. When you cast an instant or sorcery, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. So definitely down the Saruman making orcs side of things. We have Grishnak, a Brash Instigator. So it's a Goblin Soldier. It's a 1/1 for 3. When it enters the battlefield, you amass Orcs 2. When you do, until the end of your turn, gain control of target non-legendary creature and opponent controls with power less than or equal to an amassed army's power. Untap that creature. So you're getting control of a creature basically. But it's 3 mana for 3. Yeah, not too bad. I don't mind that. Then we've got Arcane Denial, a counterspell, so definitely down the Saruman path. We've got Boon of the Wishgiver, sorcery, draw 4 cards and you can cycle it down the Saruman path. Consider, cool. Deep Analysis, Saruman. I might just make a stack of Saruman here. Fact of Fiction, Forbidden Alchemy, yep, here we go. Feed the Swarm, great reprint. Merciless Executioner, so making people sack creatures. Yeah, interesting. Bit of removal as well, which is quite nice. Revenge of the Ravens, definitely still down the Saruman path. Anger, haste on your creatures is not too bad, but yeah, weird, interesting card. Faithless Looting, Saruman path again. Mouth of Sauron. So we have a 5 mana 3/4. When it enters the battlefield, target player mills 3 cards, then amass X orcs, where X is the number of instant sorceries in that player's graveyard. So almost Saruman, because you want to mill yourself then, because if you're casting a lot of instants and sorceries. Goblin Crater Maker, you can sack him to do 2 damage to target creature or destroy colorless non-land permanents, so blow up people's soul rings. I'd keep it because it's just hella funny. Gutter Snipe, definitely down the Saruman path. Shiny Impetus, Saruman-ish, kind of, to give you a bit of the protection. Thrill of Possibility, Saruman, Extract for Darkness, a really cool card. If you haven't played with this card before, really amazing. What happens is it's 5 mana, each player mills 2 cards, and then you put a creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. So you can reanimate anyone's creatures, and it mills some cards, which is really nice. So Saruman good. Arcane Signet, Basalt Monolith, Commander's Sphere, Everflowing Chalice, and Mind Stone. So that's how they're trying to get there in mana. I still feel like it needs signets, which there might be some. Let's see what else we've got. Corsairs of Umbar, Human Pirate for 4 for 3/3. Target Goblin, Orc, or Pirate can't be blocked this turn. When it deals combat damage to a player, amass Orcs 3. So it can make itself unblockable, and you can get Orcs out of it. So that's actually a really good card. I do like that. I think that's worth keeping. Monstrosity of the Lake. So it's a Kraken. It's a 4 mana 4/6. When it enters the battlefield, you may pay another 5. If you do, tap all creatures your opponents control, then put stun counters on them. Oof. Expensive to get out, but cool effect. I think that's probably worth it. Then we've got Subjugate the Hobbits for 7. Gain control of each non-commander creature with mana value 3 or less. 7 mana. Interesting. Not great, but not bad. Definitely still down the Saruman path. Then we've got Shelob Dreadweaver, so 4 mana for a 3/3. Spider Demon, when a non-token creature an opponent controls dies, you exile it. And then, you can reanimate it with it, so it's not too bad. I like it, I'd keep it. We've got Cavern Horde Dragon for 9. The spell costs X less, where X is the greatest number of artifacts opponent control. So really good with the days of people getting a lot of treasures, a lot of foods, or just playing an artifact deck. This could be really cheap to cast, and then also you've got Flying Trample and Haste on a 6/6 body. And then when it deals combat damage to a player, you create a treasure token for each artifact that player controls. So if you're reducing it by 7, paying 2 red for it, punching someone and connecting, because it does have trample and haste on the same turn, you could possibly get 7 treasure tokens out of it. Really cool card. I'd definitely keep it in here. We've got Orcish Siege Master. It's a 3 mana 0/5. Trample. Other orcs and goblins you control have trample. When it attacks, it gets +X +0 until the end of the turn, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Great. Big body, big booty. So you need that defense, especially with a lot of this. You're not going to be getting out creatures very quick. So yeah, good creature. We've got Rampaging War Mammoth. It's a trample 9/7. When you cycle it, you can destroy up to X target artifacts. I don't really like it. I'm probably going to be pulling that one out. We've got Balrog of Moria. It's a 7 mana, trample, haste, 8/8. And when it dies, you may exile it. And when you do, for each opponent, exile up to 1 target creature that player controls. You can cycle it too. When you cycle it, you create 2 treasure tokens. Cool card, really expensive though. I would probably pull it out of this deck. It seems way too hard to get to. You're commanded to use it. Grima, Saruman's Footman. It can't be blocked. It's a human advisor. When it does combat damage to a player, that player exiles from the top of the library until they exile instant or sorcery card. You can cast it without paying its mana cost. Wow, so really cool. 4 mana to get a random spell, which can be amazing. Definitely down the Saruman path, but definitely really good in the deck. Then we have a Saga. Okay, this is In the Darkness, Bind Them. 5 mana. So 1, 2, and 3, you create a 3/3 Wraith creature token with Menace, and then the Ring tempts you, which is really nice. And then on number 4, for each opponent, gain control of up to 1 target creature that player controls until the end of the turn. Untap the creatures, they gain haste, and then the Ring tempts you. So not a bad card, still triggers Saruman. I'd still use it. Then we've got Lidless Gaze. For 4 mana, exile top card of each player's library until the end of your next turn. You can play those cards and spend any mana that you can to cast it. You can flash it back too. I would definitely keep it in here. It's definitely a Saruman sort of style card. Then we've got Lord of Nazgul. It's a Wraith Noble flying. Wraiths you control have protection from ring bearers. Interesting, weird. Whenever you cast an install sorcery, create a 3/3 Black Wraith creature token with Menace. Then if you control 9 or more wraiths you control have base power and toughness 9/9 until the end of the turn. So still under the Saruman thing. Yeah, pretty cool. I like it. Moria Scavenger, Death Touch, Haste, and it's Snork Rogue, 1/4. You can tap it, discard a card, draw a card. If the discarded card was a creature card, you amass an Orc's one. So yeah, it's still under that amass style. It's a 1/4, which is not bad with Death Touch. I quite like it. I think it'd be good for a blocker too. Summons a Saruman, X and blue and red. Amass X Orcs, mill X cards, and then you can cast an instant sorcery spell with mana value X or less from among them without paying their mana cost. So yeah, really good card. Works really well with Saruman, and it has flashback as well. So really nice. Definitely keep it in there. Too greedily, too deep. 7 mana. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. That creature deals damage equal to its power to each other creature. So it's a reanimation from any graveyard and blows up the board as well to other creatures. Interesting. I'm going to keep it in because it's a really cool, weird, interesting effect. Works with Saruman. It will kill him as well and the orcs that you amass, but still really cool. Then we have Wake the Dragon, 6 mana. Create a 6/6 black and red dragon creature token with Flying Menace, and when this creature deals combat damage to a player this turn, gain control of target artifact that a player controls. Expensive to do. You can flash it back as well. You can still Soul Ring with it, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I'd probably keep it in here just because it's interesting. Relic of Saruman, so here's the extra mana out of this deck. We've got a 4 mana. You tap it to add 2 mana in any combination of blue, black, or red, and then you can pay 3, draw 2 cards, and discard a card. So a bit of loot, bit of mana ramp, which is quite nice. We've got the Black Gate in here. It enters the battlefield. You can pay 3 life. If you don't, it enters tapped. So it's a swamp basically. You can pay 1, tap it, choose player with the most life or tied for the most life. Target creature can't be blocked this turn by creatures that player controls. So gives a creature unblockable to the highest life. Not too bad. Decree of Pain, great board wipe to draw cards. Works with Saruman as well. Languish, all creatures get -4/-4 until the end of the turn. Not too bad for a board wipe. There's better ones out there. It's a cheap one though, so yeah, still works in there. Living Death, wow, that's a reprint in here. Really good card, reanimates a lot of creatures, really good. And whoa, reanimate as well. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. You lose life equal to its mana. Really amazing. Works really well with Saruman. Blasphemous Act. More ways to wipe the boards. Excellent. Goblin Dark Dwellers. Really good. When it enters the battlefield, you can cast a target instant or sorcery with CMC 3 from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. Yeah, so you get a 5 mana Menace 4/4, and you can cast a spell from your graveyard, which is really nice. Inferno Titan. Interesting when it enters. It doesn't really work that amazingly with the deck. Probably one I might pull out of the deck. Nullspine Dragon, you discard your hand, you draw a whole heap of cards, really expensive, probably won't work very well. Scourge of the Throne, it has Dethrone when it attacks. If it attacks a player with the most life or tied for the most, you untap your creatures, and there's an additional combat phase. Really good card. You're amassing some orcs as well. 50-50 whether to keep it or dump it, but it's not too bad. Siege Gang Commander, you're getting a lot of goblins, possibly a slot that you can put something else in. Treasure Nabber, hilarious card. When an opponent taps a mana artifact for mana, you gain control until you end of your next turn. So a really good way to be able to get up to Saruman and lock people's Soul Rings down. Hostage Taker, I love it because you can steal someone's Soul Ring and recast it. Notion Thief, amazing. If someone's going to draw a lot of cards, you can steal their draws. And then we're on to some lands. We've got Choke Estuary, not bad. Desolate Lighthouse, Dragon Skull, Drowned Catacombs, Foreboding Ruins, Frostboil Snarl, Smouldering Marsh, Sulphur Falls, Sulphurous Springs. Yeah, not bad lands. There's some of those reveal lands, you can always get rid of them. Soul Ring and a Warm Power Stone, still 2 good mana artifacts. And we've got Command Tower, Evolving Wilds, Field of Ruin, possibly pull that out. Path of Ancestry, weird, doesn't really need to be in there, but it gives you the mana. Terramorphic Expanse, and a whole heap of land. So let's just count up how many lands we have. So yet again, we have 38 lands. I would probably go down to about 36 in this. It seems very mana hungry, this deck. So yeah, you could probably pull out a few of these reveal lands like the Choked Estuary, the Snarls, the Foreboding Ruins, the Frostboil Snarls. Any of those is probably a decent one to pull out. You can always swap over things like Field of Ruin with some different lands if you want as well. But all in all, this deck is interesting. Sauron, Lord of the Rings, is a really cool card. Having it as a commander is really cool, but the problem is you need to get to him really quick, really fast. You need some defense to get there. This deck is geared a lot more for Saruman the White Hand. I would be running him as your commander in this deck. He has a really good ability that seems to work really well with this deck. And yeah, probably if you're going to do Sauron as your commander, I would heavily gear this deck differently. I'd put a lot better ways to ramp in there. I'd put a lot of things like Mana Geyser, Doubling Cube, anything, well, a lot of the talismans that can get you to the mana quicker, Wayfarer's Bauble. You really need to get to his mana as quickly as you possibly can. And so yeah, I don't think he is definitely good for this deck. I think he's another commander you'd build around. I think Saruman's definitely the one in here to keep. If I was going that way, I would definitely pull out Siege Gang Commander, Nullspine Dragon, Inferno Titan, Balrog of Moria, Rampaging War Mammoth, Voracious Fellbeast, Troll of Khazad-dûm. To put any other cards in, so I'd put in Creature Generations into this. You've got Young Pyromancer, you've got the guy that makes the 2/2 Drakes that's in blue, Talrand Sky Summoner. Things that could reduce, there's a lot of instants and sorceries in here, so you could put like Goblin Electromancer to reduce the costs of your instants and sorceries. But yeah, I'd definitely put a lot more creatures that can create more creatures from this. There's a lot out there now, especially in blue and red, so have a look there. There is also some from Strixhaven that sit in the black slot as well that does like Magecraft. So any cards that sort of sit in there, I'll link some in the comments below, some interesting ones. But all in all, not a bad deck. I think Saruman, the White Hand, definitely has to be the commander. Sauron's just too expensive, too hard to get to, and he doesn't work with what this deck wants to do. So yeah, but cool product. I like it. I'm definitely going to play it and enjoy it. Yeah, let us know what you like and what you'd put into this deck, and look out for the rest of our videos. Catch you on the next one.